girlfriend Cassie, and another girlfriend who testified under the pseudonym Jane around the country, along with male escorts for sex acts. Now, when Cassie testified in court, she spent almost a week. She broke down on the stand in tears, relating some of the things that she says he did to her. Also, during the trial, we saw that infamous video of Sean Diddy Combs beating up Cassie in a hotel hallway. As I said before, he was acquitted on the two charges that would have carried a maximum time in prison. He was acquitted on racketeering, the RICO Act, which was running his business like a criminal enterprise. He was acquitted on that. He was also acquitted on the charge of sex trafficking. But he was found guilty for flying around his girlfriends and male escorts for the purpose of sex. Now, he said he's not guilty, and his lawyers had said that he was not guilty and that what he did in his bedroom was his private business, and that he took videos, but he was not doing anything that anyone else wouldn't be doing in the privacy of their own bedroom. Now let's take another look here at the federal courthouse. The line of people trying to get in, those are mainly reporters, but some interested parties. People started lining up on Wednesday to get into this courtroom because that's the only way they'll be able to see Diddy. We have there are line sitters out there, people who have told me that they would sell their seat for $400. Some are employed by television news networks, by news companies, by newspapers and magazines, so that they can get prime seating. Our AP reporters in the court already have prime seating because they have permanent passes. So they don't have to wait on that line. They're able to enter the court with their permanent pass, and they'll be seated in the courtroom to watch as Diddy is sentenced. Stay with AP News, stay with AP News live stream for the latest. We have a lot more on our website, apnews.com, and on the AP News app. You'll be able to see stories about Diddy. You'll be able to read the latest. We have videos, we have audio where we discuss the trial, and we'll have guests joining us in the later hours. We have AP entertainment reporter Maria Sherman talking about his career and what's next for Diddy. In fact, in his letter to the judge, Diddy said that he's no longer all about the fame and fortune. He just wants to be let out to spend time with his loved ones. We'll also later on in our live stream hear from Larry Neumeister, who's in court now. And also Mike Sisak, another court reporter, will join us later on. And we were told that this sentencing could take all day. So stay with AP News on our AP News live stream for the latest on the Diddy sentencing. I'm Julie Walker. from the Zoom call. I mean, maybe somebody had their speaker on and I was hearing, but I had to take the earpiece out. I mean, but I prefer to use the earpiece because then I could know. I thought I needed to rap. I guess I was giving the 5-minute signal, but I looked like I was giving the rap signal.
Guys, sorry for jumping in. Julie doesn't need to go.
Thank you so much.
When we're working the sentencing. So I think I could be the liaison and I can tell her. Take off the get back with her.
Well, it would be helpful.
I'm going to mute you because your voice is all going out.
I believe I'm cleared. Well, I'm also.
Das Gegenteil auch.
Wann kommt das denn?
Ganz, ganz
Ja, so. Oh, oh.
Zehner kommen oder was war von Zehner? Der läuft über die Brücke. Der läuft über die Brücke.
Da gab es damals, ich glaube, da gab es Raumbild. Aber heute haben wir alles, was bei 3 und morgen ist eine Kamera.
Good morning. Welcome to AP live stream of the Diddy sentencing. Sean Diddy sentence, the Sean Diddy Combs sentencing. I think you're hearing this music now. There's a funeral going on. This is New York City, so you have to be prepared for everything. Behind us is a funeral home, and there is a funeral. We're going to try to pan just to show you what's happening. Now, that's the funeral home, and directly across the street, as you'll see soon enough, is the federal courthouse where Sean Diddy Combs will be sentenced. With me is Larry Neumeister, AP court reporter who's been in court through the entire trial and joins me now to discuss the funeral music and the sentencing.
I have a lot to say about the funeral music for this reason. The specter of death has been thrown at this sentencing judge all through the prep for the sentencing. You know, if Sean Diddy Combs was in jail too long, he could die there. You know, that was implied during the trial, that if he was convicted of sex trafficking charges and racketeering conspiracy, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. But he was exonerated on those charges. And in fact, he was only convicted on prostitution-related charges that the probation department says should still put him behind bars for 12 years. And prosecutors are asking for more than 11 years. But his lawyers say they're trying to use the evidence that came out at trial against Sean Combs to make him spend a lot of time in prison when it's unjust. They say that evidence was mainly directed toward those charges he was exonerated on, and that he should not spend any more time in jail than the last year that he has spent there already. So they'll be making those arguments to the judge all day today. This proceeding is expected to last the entire day and could even go to a second day. So we're not even guaranteed that at the end of today we'll know how long Sean Combs will be penalized and spend in prison for his crimes.
I did want to mention that we are listening to a live band now as part of a funeral procession happening right by the courthouse.
They're bringing out the casket as we speak.
And I wanted to mention this because there's an interesting point that Sean Diddy Combs made. He sent a letter to the judge yesterday
raising the specter of death again.
Yeah. I want to read a quote. I want to tell you what he said in the letter. Over the past year, there have been so many times that I wanted to give up. There have been some days I thought I would be better off dead. The old me died in jail, and a new version of me was reborn. Prison will change you or kill you. I chose to live. Those are the words that Sean Diddy Combs wrote to the judge. He's asking the judge to basically set him free. He spent about 13 months in jail. His lawyers are asking for 14 months. That would mean he would be out right away. Prosecutors want him to spend at least 11 years in prison.
Right. 11 years and 3 months, they say, should be the minimum amount of time he spends behind bars. They cite heavily the violence that was involved in his relationships with his ex-girlfriends, who they claim now forced them to engage in sex with other men while he watched, masturbated, and often film the encounters, and then use that film to basically force them into more of the same behaviors, saying that he'll release those films publicly if they don't. Some of the people that the prosecutors thought would help them prosecute him have actually turned the other way, and now they're coming back into Combs' camp. One of them was supposed to be the third woman to testify during the trial about all kind of grisly things. She now says he wasn't such a bad guy. He's, they had their difficulties, but now she thinks that he should be treated leniently at sentencing. So it's hard to say where that goes.
Actually, Cassie wrote a letter to the judge as well. Cassie Ventura, Sean Diddy Combs' former girlfriend, who was the prosecution's star witness, or one of the star witnesses against him during the trial. She was heavily pregnant, about 8 months pregnant when she testified, giving birth shortly after her testimony, but she wrote a letter to the judge, and she does not want Diddy to get off. She wants him to spend time in prison. She does not believe he's a changed man. In her letter she says, he has not changed. I know the real Diddy, and he has not changed.
Well, Cassie and others who testified at the trial maintained that, he was violent. He used violence to get what he wanted. And several of them also wrote letters saying they fear for their own lives if he's released, that he'll come back and seek retribution against them. And they too, as you said, agree that whatever he's claiming now about being a reformed good guy who's off drugs and won't do violent things anymore is not the real Diddy, and that, the bad boy of Bad Boy Productions will be back. In fact, in Cassie's letter to the judge, she does bring up the fact that she discussed the assaults and he denied them until that video came out of him beating her up in the hotel hallway. Right.
And she said until then he had denied it, and then he finally took responsibility.
And this morning his lawyers released a video that they plan to show the judge in court today, showing Sean Diddy Combs playing on the beach with children, giving inspiring pep talks to children, crying after Kim Porter died, the mother of several of his children, and showing a very emotional, inspirational, good guy, Sean Combs. But the danger of that is it can cut both ways in court. The judge may say, look, this is proof that in the past he has said all the right things, all while he was doing the wrong things. And so you never know how something like that, it's about an 11-minute clip, is going to affect a judge as they decide what the ultimate sentence is.
I did see that video, and it is a heavily produced video, as you said, of Sean with his family. He's got 7 children. He's got a mother who's now 84 years old. She's had some health issues.
And he's been at the trial every day.
Yes, she has, and most of his children have been at the trial from time to time as well. In fact, one day during the trial, I had to go through the security checkpoint and the metal detectors, and his 2 twin daughters were right there with me coming in. So everybody goes through the metal detectors except for you, because you have a permanent court pass.
Well, in the sentencing memo that the defense wrote, they made a very large point of the fact that it's not just Combs who's been affected by his arrest, and they claim his whole career has been destroyed and everything he had going, but they say his family has really been affected as well, that they were going to have a TV production that got canceled and all kinds of opportunities were lost. And he promised them at the last hearing that he had in court just about a week ago that he's got big plans for them again. So he's telling them once he gets out of jail, and he's expecting to get out of jail soon. I really, he comes across as confident that he's not going to get such a long prison term. He's been very buoyant in court ever since he got exonerated on those 2 charges that could have put him away for life. He's been smiling. He's talking inspirationally to his family in court. his whole defense team seems supercharged, you know.
But this is the same judge who denied him bail. You know, he tried to get out on bail during the trial, before the trial, while he was waiting to be sentenced, and he was denied.
And just days ago, this same judge rejected the defense's attempt to throw out the charges, the remaining charge again, to reverse the jury's verdict, saying on First Amendment grounds, these charges should not stick, because they claim that because Combs was filming these encounters with these women, the sexual encounters that went on for as many as 4 days at a time sometimes, and involved multiple male sex workers separately, never at the same time. But the defense was saying that was basically First Amendment activity because he was filming the encounters. But the judge said no to that, that was not, he wasn't like a typical porn producer or something, because he wasn't having them sign waivers that, you know, that what goes on there, you know, is okay. And he wasn't doing the things that a normal porn producer would do, so you can't claim he was engaging in First Amendment activity.
Let's take another look behind us at the scene outside the court. A lot of reporters, a lot of people. There's still a bit of a line there. There's only room inside the courtroom for how many? There's
probably about 100.
100. So 100.
But not all spectators.
Right,
a lot
family,
of those will be journalists.
supporters.
They're having journalists will be allowed to sit in the jury box since the jury won't be there. And then a lot of journalists will be in the spectator section. But he generally has 2 or 3 rows that are dedicated to his family and then some close friends. And they've been there throughout the trial.
And his lawyers. He's a huge team of lawyers.
He has 8 lawyers, and many lawyers behind those 8 lawyers. And 4 of them expect to speak in court today. That's part of the reason why they expect the proceeding to go on the entire day. And as I said, maybe stretch into Monday.
And the prosecution also has several lawyers, the government lawyers, and they will speak in court as well.
They have 5 lawyers, but they used to have 6. Maureen Comey, who was really led the prosecution, she was, I don't think many people know this, but she was doing almost all the work. She was really leading it in every way and speaking constantly in court, arguing all the important points. Well, about 2 weeks after he was convicted and exonerated, she was fired by the Justice Department with no real reason given. She has since sued the U.S. government, saying she was basically fired for political reasons and it's unjust and she wants her job back. But that will be a big voice that is missing for the prosecution.
And let me remind people that Maureen Comey is James Comey's daughter. So there's that other connection too, which...
James Comey, the former FBI director who was fired by Trump during President Trump during his first term, and has since criticized the president repeatedly and made Trump mad on several occasions. And many people think that is behind why Maureen Comey won't be in the courtroom today. And James Comey not only was the FBI director, he worked under the Bush administration as one of the top Justice Department officials, and he was also U.S. attorney. And while after this courthouse behind me opened in 1995. He was U.S. Attorney after the 9/11 attacks around 2002. And
Maureen Comey also was on the Ghislaine Maxwell case, and she put her away in prison. Ghislaine Maxwell was of course Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend, and Maureen Comey prosecuted that case as well.
Yes,
and got a conviction against Ghislaine Maxwell.
That was really her specialty. Although she worked in the public corruption unit, she really specialized in these prosecutions of individuals who did sexual wrongdoing and violated a lot of women and sometimes men too in these cases that are really becoming a specialty both of this office and the sister office over in Brooklyn for the federal prosecutors.
So if you are interested in finding out more information, you could always go to our website, apnews.com, or our app, our AP News app, to find out more. We'll be live streaming from outside the court. Of course, cameras are not allowed in the court. We will have a sketch artist in the court, so we will be able to know what he looks like, and we'll have those sketches later up on our website. And Larry will be in the courtroom with Sean Diddy Combs, watching it all unfold.
You know, whenever Combs is in the courtroom, he's, he interacts with his family when he first comes in. He usually blows them a kiss or touches his heart, sometimes waves to them. Last time he came into court, he was smiling. Last time, they made him wear his prison uniform. The judge said the defense lawyers didn't ask that he be in civilian clothes in time and that they needed to justify it. Well, they have satisfied the judge today because he's going to be wearing civilian clothes in the courtroom today. And that'll be different from his last appearance. But he's had family there every single day. He interacts with them every day. He speaks to them sometimes after court is ended, as he did after he was convicted. He spoke to them immediately afterwards. So he's definitely a presence in the courtroom, and he's been active throughout the trial in his defense. There were a couple of occasions where he would actually stop the defense lawyers from questioning a witness when he decided
That's right.
he didn't think they could go
very
any further.
active in his own trial, in his own defense, even though he didn't take the witness stand. But we will hear from him later today, at least those in court will. And Larry Neumeister, thank you so much for joining us. You're watching the AP News live stream of the Sean Diddy Combs sentencing from outside the federal.
Aiden, you got the mics?
Yeah.
Now,
You got the flag thing, that microphone?
Yeah.
Here, take this thing.
you don't need to look at what you can see.
The microphone should have a little thing on the bottom of it, and then you can attach it.
Some eyeballs.
Put it on the table, connect it to where the other microphone is. If that if this doesn't work
You
properly,
need to get them back to.
They're locked down.
It is hilarious the way I found out about it. So I read it. Like, you know how when you have The market on that. But then later, I'm on IG and I'm scrolling, and I see because I hit feels good to see. Like the circus got here earlier. Thank you.
Diddy's supposed to say
Adam? Wasn't it Armand? Oh, Ramon? I keep calling him Armand Wiggins is over there. That's what's wrong. Good morning, Lady K. How you doing? Praying for you, Lady Tony. They said that you put those baby boy bottles out here that time.
I got these.
yeah, it's already got this time.
Out of here.